Hello and welcome to vChat, episode number 23. I'm David Davis from VMwareVideos.com.
And I'm Eric Siebert from vChat.com.
And I'm Simon Seagrave from techhead.co.uk.
How's it going, guys? It's been a while.
It has. And then I see Simon's all in his new digs there. Got your new place, Simon?
Yeah, the new man cave is up and running, which is great. It's nice to have all my stuff finally out of storage and, slowly unpacking it all, cabling it all back up again. But, feel much happier now.
Cool.
Awesome, guys. Well, we've got some topics lined up today. Let's start off by talking about VMware Partner Exchanges coming up soon. Eric, tell us what's going on at Partner Exchange.
Yeah, this will be my first one, actually. I've always been independent, so never had the opportunity to attend, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure attendance-wise where they're at. I know it's limited to partners and all that and vendors, so is it probably, around the 3,000 to 4,000 people range? It's nowhere near as big as VMworld, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's much smaller.
Okay.
So if you've been to VMworlds in the past, this is a lot smaller.
Mini?
Which actually, last year was the first time I went, and so I prefer the Partner Exchange just because it is smaller. It's a little bit more personal. It's not quite as chaotic, which is kind of nice.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's like I said, this will be my first one, as a vendor in that. So I have a special slot I got to speak at and that, and we have some parties lined up. Of course, we got our tweet up that Calvin Zito has funded. So we have that Monday night at the right after the Solutions Exchange closes, and that after the welcome reception over at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, which should be fun. And I'm just looking forward to typically it's only once a year that we all meet and get together and hang out and network with people at VMworld, and this gives you kind of the other opportunity to do that as well. And that so it's at least twice a year now. And that, so looking forward to seeing all those people that we typically only see once a year, and just kind of catching up with everybody.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. This will be my third Partner Exchange. Okay. But I like it, like you said, because it's so small, and I like being able to walk to every single booth in the Solutions Exchange and talk to everyone and spend time with them, and then also the roadmaps. You get to see kind of what's coming in the future. Like last year at Partner Exchange, that was when vSphere 5 was actually leaked, by TechTarget. Okay. So you get to you might get some tidbits out of the show, stuff like that. So. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, good. Yeah, looking forward to it. Back to Vegas.
It is pretty good. Yeah, Vegas, good old Vegas.
Yeah.
It is pretty good. It's going to be interesting, Eric, to get your thoughts on it after the event, because last year was the first time I went, and I went as a vendor as well, obviously with EMC, and it's interesting to see what your experience is like, going as a vendor as opposed to, like the VMworlds, for example, going as a vendor as opposed to an independent. It is, I found it a completely different experience. Still very enjoyable, but because you don't have the same sort of freedom just to roam around and run your own schedule, as it were, definitely a little bit different. But that said, there are many benefits of being a vendor there as well. You're there for a bit longer because you're there for the setup, a couple of days beforehand, and then obviously you've got to tear it all down at the end, which is kind of exciting. So,
this was kind of my first experience of, setting up a booth, and that, because, we had spec out hardware and all that stuff to figure out what we want to put in there, the signage and all that stuff. So, it was definitely interesting being on this side of the table now, instead of, the typical, being independent. You're not involved in any of the behind the scenes stuff and that. And, now it's definitely, it's fun too. It's definitely, I enjoy that angle of it, being able to, be involved with the whole show, what we're going to present, what we're going to show, and everything like that. And so definitely looking forward to getting there and experiencing it.
It's interesting. There is so much work that goes on behind the scenes. It's like whenever you transport hardware around, there's always prone to things going wrong. For example, this week rather, we had Cisco LIve Europe, and all our equipment was sent across from the States. So you've got a lot of considerations there, such as the different voltages, for example, different power connectors and all that type of thing. So many things to go wrong or to be overlooked. So it definitely keeps you on your toes. It's pretty cool.
Equipment broken in transit.
Yeah, that's a favorite, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've heard that happen all too often in that. We had a whole virtual system that got cratered because it got damaged or something in transit. So it's it should be fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've always got to have a plan B as well. So it's not just like planning the actual booth or the demonstrations of the hardware there. You've got to have a plan B generally in your back pocket as well, just in case. Always a backup plan. Cool.
Yeah, this is the first partner exchange that Train Signal will have a booth at.
Oh, well,
so that'll be fun. But we don't have any.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we don't have any servers at our booth to get worried about breaking. So I'm looking forward to doing some labs. Actually, I never get to do the labs at VMworld, so I hope I can do some labs partner exchange.
Yeah, there's going to be 100 seats, so it's a little bit smaller. So VMworld Copenhagen, for example. VMware put on 400 seats or thereabouts there. There's going to be 100 seats at this one. So yeah, if you missed seeing the labs at either of the two VMworld events last year, you'll be able to sit them again this year at Partner Exchange.
Those are always good.
So
Simon, how was Cisco LIve? What was that like?
Yeah, it was good. It was 3 days. It was pretty busy, actually. It was a lot better than last year. The attendance was definitely up. The Solutions Exchange, because I was there in my capacity as working for a vendor, it was very noticeable. The booths were a lot bigger. It just felt a lot more polished than last year. It was pretty good. A lot of the other vendors there had some great kit on their booths, as did we. VCE were there. They had a V-Block, a 300FX, which is the dual cabinet V-Block, along with the VPlex, and we had a V-Block. We had a 300EX, which is the single cab version, with a VPlex as well. So it was kind of cool. We were doing live vMotions effectively between two simulated data centers. And as you know, normally, if you're transferring data between two data centers, unless you're paying an awful lot of money for a low latency link or dark fiber between two sites, for example, 10, 20 kilometers plus away from each other, it's normally not possible without taking the VMs down. So we were just showing, with the VPlex, how it enables you to do this. Obviously, using low latency links again, but it was pretty cool stuff. We had a little video playing as a demo. Actually, we had a Chadswell video playing there, and we're showing people vMotioning a VM, playing the video between effectively two data centers without any loss of or drops of video packets at all. So it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. People like that. And then for a bit of added extra fun, actually, we hooked the iPad vSphere client into it as well. So we kicked off the vMotions using the iPad, and just for a bit of extra fun, a bit of eye candy as well. It was pretty cool. And luckily, touch wood, we didn't have any hardware failures. The demo gods were smiling, luckily, for the week. But the atmosphere was great there. Like I say, much better than the previous year, which was my first time last year. And a lot of interest. Cool. So yeah, it was worthwhile.
That's one show I've never been to in that. And they have a US one too. Is that coming up probably in a few months or right around?
Yeah, they've got one in Vegas. I don't think it's too far off. Yeah, you're right. I think it's in a couple of months' time. I think they've got a few right around the world, actually. I mean, VMware obviously have the two shows, the one in Europe, the one in the Americas.
Okay.
But I think Cisco LIve, from memory, I think they do it all around the place. I think they possibly have 3 or 4 different Cisco LIVEs. Yeah, so...
they have a lot. Yeah. They have them around the world. I went to Cisco LIve in 2006 or 7 in Las Vegas, and I sat in the front row at the keynote, and John Chambers stood right there in front of me and spoke and came out in the audience, and so that was cool. Does John Chambers, does he go around the world to those different shows? Did he come to the one in the UK, or?
I'm embarrassed to say I've got no idea. I was so focused on making sure that everything was working, and that the V-Block and the VPlex were up and running as they should. I had no idea. I couldn't even tell you what sessions were going on, unfortunately.
I thought he did.
Being a vendor.
I saw a tweet on it. Somebody had said he was speaking or something, so I thought he was there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think he's going to be pretty good at sort of doing the rounds, as it were, and, attending these different events. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he was there. I kind of suspect he probably was, yeah.
I guess that's a downside of working for a vendor. On one hand, you get to go to these great shows. On the other hand, you don't get to go to a lot of sessions or the keynote maybe.
Mm. Yeah, it is a bit of a double-edged sword. A lot of people have this perception that it's great. You go and do like half an hour on the booth, spend the rest of the time just walking around talking to people. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It is good. It's nice. It's great to meet people and customers and everything. It's great, but they are long days. Make sure your choice of shoes or footwear are good, and it is great. It is fun because you're amongst the buzz of it all. But what you don't have is obviously the freedom, the ability to attend sessions, and just hang out with colleagues and to go and network. But it swings around about. Yeah.
Right. Well, cool. So why don't we move on and let's talk about the top blog voting.
Yes, it's going on. I'll probably close the polls in probably in a few days, and that get some time to tabulate all the votes. Right now, I think last I checked last night, there was over 1,000 votes so far. Those were complete votes. I got a lot of partials too. There was like 1,100 partials. A lot of those are empty in that, but some have data. They're just missing like one thing, like maybe somebody didn't put their email address in. So I have to go through and kind of sort out the stuff that's not a valid vote and put it all together, tabulate it all, figure out the winners, and it's a lot of work. So it'll probably take me 6 to 8 hours just to go through and figure out where everything is in that. So we hope to announce the results at Partner Exchange and that a special vChat session there where we can go over the winners, have John Troyer there. I heard there was no video kind of set up at PEX in this community lounge at all, so maybe we'll have to figure something out to be able to record it there or just do audio only or something.
We can make our own. That's not a problem.
Yeah. So
we'll improvise something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's so far a really good participation in the voting. We have the special categories this year, so I need to count all those up and get the winners in each of the categories as well. And great turnout. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results and seeing who I think we'll probably know who's number one. That doesn't seem to change. The top 10 seems to stay fairly consistent from year to year in that. Again, there's a lot of new voters. It's been, I think, about 14 months since the last one. So a lot of new blogs out there. And be interesting to see, I'll probably publish it as, instead of the top 25, the top 40 or the top 50 this time, just because there are so many blogs now on that it gets more difficult when you just focus on a small set of that. You lose a lot of the context of the other blogs on that. So I'll probably publish it as more blogs now on that, and the more like the top 50. But so yeah, look for that in a week or two, and we'll announce the winners.
So one of the things that you're doing different this time is you've got it broken up into categories. Is that right?
Yeah, I felt that, too often some of the, like I said, the same bloggers get, that dominate the top 10, top 25, and there's specific blogs that, I like to maybe highlight recognition in certain areas that, somebody excels at, like, like the top storage blog, the top cloud blog, the top VDI blog. Another one is top independent blogger in that, there's so many. If you look at the top 25 now, I think there's maybe 5, 6, if that are independent people in that. Most of them have all gone to work for vendors, so wanted to kind of focus and highlight some of the independent bloggers out there. And some of the other categories, top podcast.
You got like video.
Oh,
best videos, yeah.
Yeah, videos. And all that. So
you've got cloud computing, VDI.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who surfaces at the top in that. And the storage one is pretty crowded. There's a lot of storage blogs out there on that, and a lot of good ones. So see who takes that one, and just looking forward to see what the votes are, and see who the winner is in each category.
Yeah. One thing we should perhaps point out, Eric, I've had a few people saying, hey, I've got a blog, I've just started a blog, and how do I get my name on the list? So, I was just wondering whether you want to just fill people in how for next year, how to get themselves on that list to make themselves eligible for voting.
Yeah. It's, I try to keep my eyes out, and when I see a blog that I notice isn't on, it's tough now because there's like 200 of them out there. If I see a blog that I know isn't on the vLaunchpad, I'll make a note of it, and I only update it maybe once every couple months because it's a pain. It's an alphabetical order, and to add a blog, I got to cut and paste from row to row all the blogs down one by one. Let's say, especially if it's like at the top, like an A blog or a B blog, and I got to move everything down one. If it's near the bottom, it's easier. So I don't update it that often as a result. And so if I notice them, I jot them down on that. But I can't notice everything. It's tough to keep up with so many bloggers. So I do have a forum on the vLaunchpad to add your blog if it's not on there. So definitely use that form and let me know about it. And it may not be up there right away, but I will get it up there, within, like I said, a month or two. And otherwise, before I launch the voting, I put a post on my website saying, hey, voting's about to start. If your blog's not on there, make sure it's on there so it gets included in the ballot. And I tweeted it a lot and stuff like that, tried to give as much attention as possible just so I didn't miss anybody. But as usual, once the voting started, people came out of the woodwork saying, hey, where's my blog and stuff like that. And so at that point, it's kind of too late because it throws the voting off. Basically. Yeah, and it throws the voting off if I try adding it after the voting is open, and that kind of screws up my spreadsheet too. So if you're not on there, let me know. I'll get you on there, and you'll definitely be on the ballot next time.
And that website is thevpad.com.
The VPad, or if you just go to
VPad.
Yep, vSphereLand is a link, and I think it's also known as planet.vsphereland.com. And then once I tabulate everything, I have my other website, the Planet vSphereLand, which is an aggregator of the top 25 blogs. And that will give you, all the posts from the top 25 bloggers. I'll probably expand that out to the top 50 this time, so you can see the top 50 blogs, and they automatically get tweeted as well. There's a Twitter account. I think it's top 25 vblogs at top 25 vblogs, that where you can have them. If you follow that, you automatically see the posts in your feed.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'm there now. feed.vsphere-land.com.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, that was a custom, kind of like the Planet V12N, but it's only focused on those top blogs and that. The tough one to get going in that. I finally found a plugin in WordPress that would do that. I was looking at other ways to do it through scripting, and there was a whole bunch of stuff out there to try to implement it. But this plugin works pretty well. You can go in and set up, which blogs you want to include in there, and it'll automatically aggregate them, and I'll post them on the website.
That sounds good, definitely.
Cool. Because I knew you had the top 25 blogs Twitter account or Twitter feed. So now you've got a website that does the same thing as well.
Yeah, that's basically just another plugin on that website. That plugin automatically, whenever a post appears on that website, it tweets it automatically.
Yeah, that sounds similar to the one we use for the VBears site. So whenever anyone submits like a new VBears event on the site there, it gets automatically pushed out onto Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, there's so many plugins out there for WordPress and that. It seems you can do almost anything these days, and that, if you find the right plugin and that, there's a lot of creative things you can do on your blogs and that. And it's definitely a great platform. I enjoy using it. I hack a lot of my plugins and WordPress stuff and my themes a lot just to get it just right, and that, increasing the size, colors, and all that stuff and that. So I'm a pretty good hacker when it comes to the WordPress themes.
Yeah, I do a similar thing. I couldn't write a new plugin, but I'm pretty good at sort of modifying them.
Yeah.
As for themes, I've got to change mine at some stage. I've been using the same one for about 2 years, so
it works.
At some stage, when I get some spare time, I'm going to.
Yeah, that's the key. The spare time. Doesn't seem to be much of that lately.
That's funny how it vanishes.
Right. So what else? Any new books, new apps, what's new? Eric?
No new books. I'm looking into possibly doing another book and that, working with Pearson. They contacted me. I don't know if I want to get into that again or not. It's just a lot of work and that, and a lot of time. Maybe at some point. No new apps, new computer here. This one would be perfect for workstation. I have to get it on there and that. It's blazingly fast. I finally went the SSD route on that. Installed the SSD drive in there. I got 16 gig of RAM, so I could probably run Workstation pretty well on that. Did another kind of build your own PC in that. Built my own, got my own case, picked up the motherboard, the Intel i7 2600K processor, and so this thing screams in that. I haven't put Workstation on here yet, but I'll probably put that on there. Get some just playing around with it.
How much memory did you go for, Eric? 16 gig?
16 gig, and that it's surprisingly cheap these days. I went with the DDR3 1600, and I think it was only $80, $90 to populate it up to 16 gig. So
it's not bad. I 8 gigs to 4 gig the other day for one of my HP microservers at the back there. Recently, and I think that cost me around about $40 or $45 or thereabouts.
Yeah, it's come down. I'm surprised because it used to be those 4 gig DIMMs were so expensive that I never went that route. And now that they're down, it's definitely a lot more affordable and possible without shoveling out all that money for RAM. So it's and so I'll probably use it as a playground because I got my normal my ML servers and my microservers over here. But trying to test out things like beta versions of that, you're always having to rip apart your traditional lab there and then reinstall everything in that. So Workstation's a nice kind of sandbox where you can just play around and not have to worry about messing with the stuff that you already have configured and running out there.
Yeah, what I've ended up doing, because I've got a mixture now of AMD-based servers out the back, predominantly the HP ProLance I've got there, and I've got Intel as well. I'm finding that I've got two distinct type of sandboxes I use anyway. Oh, okay. Yeah, the AMDs I tend to use more for my sort of day-to-day stuff that I'm running here, my domain controllers, VDI type environments, but the rest of it, my Intels, my ML110, G6, G7, and I use more for sandboxing, just for installing, mucking around with stuff. And that seems to work quite well. But that's where it definitely comes in very useful, having a set of different USB keys. So when you go to these trade shows, definitely pick up these 2 gig or 4 gig USB keys they're giving away. Because it's excellent. I've got a whole selection of those, and they've got different versions of ESXi installed on each, and it's great. You just throw those into the internal USB slot, and within a couple of minutes you're up and running with a new version, which is pretty good. Yeah, I got a whole box of those, so maybe at some point I'll start using those again. I have played around with them in the past. Definitely cool to be able to just plug in your flavor and be off and running. Yeah, I think it's definitely it's interesting what you're saying there, Eric, about building your own machine, and I think it's almost getting to the stage now that commodity sort of boards are getting up to 16 gig plus that you can actually populate them with because of the 4 gig DIMMs dropping in price. I'm almost tempted just to buy or build at some stage 1 mega machine. Maybe you can take 24 gigs. I don't know whether I can go past 24 at all on a domestic board, but just really max it out with memory. CPU's never too much of an issue, so I'm not worried about that. But really, like you say, as you're doing there, is just run Workstation on it, run nested versions of ESX. Obviously, that's easy to do now, and just have one machine as opposed to multiple small individual compute boxes. Yeah, and so I looked at drives for this, and I went with the 6 gigabyte per second SSD drive, 120 gig, and I think it was about the same price or cheaper than a traditional mechanical drive with the price. I was shocked by the price of the drive. I hadn't realized it went up that high in that. Luckily, I bought a 1 terabyte drive, 7200 RPM, 6-7 months ago that I had never used, so I shoved that in there with the SSD instead of going out and buying, because the drives are up to the 1 terabytes and 2 terabytes, up to $200 or something like that. So I was surprised that I heard they'd gone up, but they went up a lot, and it's amazing, isn't it, how the pricing of the discs, it seemed to hit the domestic market first, with the price increases. I've seen it over here in the UK as well. Prices have crept up from what I've been reading as well. The enterprise grade discs, they're being hit now. The backlog that a lot of the vendors out there have been depleted now to the point where, drive prices on enterprise discs are now going up as well. So it'd be interesting to see how quickly they can turn things around over in Bangkok there, and whether they relocate, I don't know, but how quickly you can get the manufacturing up and running to maximum speed again.
Yeah, they need to build those plants on stilts or something.
Halfway up a mountain, yeah.
Not in a floodplain. So yeah, that was, typically, because I always thought the drive is the cheapest part of the build, and that you spend a lot of money on the motherboard, and a lot of money on the CPU, and most of the other components are fairly reasonably priced. I went with a pretty hefty video card this time, that definitely, I've been playing a lot of my games at the full max resolution, everything on now, high detail, and that's definitely pretty cool in that, so yeah, it was a good build. I always worry when you're trying to put all this stuff together. The motherboards are getting so complicated. There's so many connections now, and what goes where. You got special power plugs now and all that. But I was able to, a lot of Googling and that, and was able to get everything plugged in correctly, and got it all up and running. It works good.
Yeah, I haven't built a machine now for, it must be about 5 or 6 years. I really miss it, actually. I love doing it. I love going down to the computer fairs on a Saturday morning, knowing roughly what model of motherboard, or at least, getting it down to 2 or 3 particular models of motherboard or system board, and just picking up all the pieces, heading back home, and then putting it all back, putting it all together. Obviously, finding it doesn't work, and then trying again, getting it going. But it's interesting as well. A lot of peripherals now, especially graphics cards. Obviously, they need their own dedicated power supply now, and they're getting pretty power hungry.
I got a special power supply, a 600-700 watt one that had those special power connectors. Because you're plugging directly into the video card now. I had the plugs I had to plug into that to power the video card directly, and that instead of going through the PCI bus. So I did my homework ahead of time. Went through like Micro Center, their website, and made sure everything was compatible and all that, and it all worked out. Runs great.
Yeah, I think the cost now, if you're talking SSD, definitely lies with the disks, isn't it? I'm kind of surprised the price of SSDs haven't dropped more than they have in the last probably 2 years.
Yeah,
which is kind of a shame, really.
Because
I was hoping by now I might have a half terabyte disk, but there's no way I can afford one of those, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I wanted to get over that 60 gig barrier and that, because it's just kind of small. I put your OS on there, you don't have much left, so I went with the 120, but getting from 120 to the next level was really expensive and that. So yeah, I'm surprised they haven't come down as much yet. Hopefully that will be soon and that, so we can kind of enjoy the benefits without paying the price. Because they're definitely, this boots in like 6-7 seconds in that. It's pretty brazenly fast, so it's definitely a big change. Once you go SSD, I don't think you ever want to go back to those spinning mechanical disks anymore. It's just too slow compared to SSDs. So
yeah, definitely. It's a bit like getting an electric toothbrush. I always think, once you get an electric toothbrush, it's hard to go back to a conventional one again.
Yep.
Bad comparison, but yeah. Okay, so did you guys see that VMware have released their new sort of updated Go Fast appliance marketplace?
The Solutions Exchange, right?
Yeah.
The VSX. Yeah, I was involved. We were briefed on that months and months ago, and that by VMware, kind of what was coming. That so we were kind of on the beta of that. And so now what they've basically done is they've always had that virtual appliance marketplace where people can kind of showcase their prepackaged virtual machines in that, there was tons of them out there, anything from the BSAs to network things, routers, firewalls and stuff like that. So they took that and they've expanded that out. It almost seems like it's kind of like an Amazon now for VMware and that, because they have customer ratings and things like that. You can browse solutions, you can, contact for more information. And, so
I think it's a good step forward. I mean, it's got that whole social networking part sort of built into it as by default now, which seems to be the way a lot of vendors are going out there, isn't it? Sort of, using that to connect to the potential or existing audience.
Yeah, especially in technology, there's more and more people using that these days. I think, people realize now it's more for just traditional social type things. It can actually be used as an effective business tool, if you understand it and use it properly and that. So I think almost every technology company these days is on board with it in some way, shape, or form. And it's definitely a great tool that takes you above and beyond traditional methods that you have for marketing and selling your products, and gives you more avenues and, in a lot of cases, a lot easier ways of presenting your products and services to people.
Mm. Yeah, I think the whole iTunes store sort of model definitely gets held up quite often as being the sort of I wouldn't say the de facto, but definitely a rather good use case or a template on which to sort of base your own one on.
Yeah, I love that, the iTunes, that kind of, I love that concept in that. When I got this iMac here, that was the first thing that really I liked a lot was, for Windows, how do you find these apps? You have to go to a store, go online, whatever, buy them, install them, and having this marketplace, it's all, a focus. You can browse things and just click and have them installed right then. It's just totally cool. And that's what impressed me about this iMac, is the ability to browse software directly within that client, that store place, and install it. So, I'm sure everybody's getting on board with that now. I think Microsoft is coming out with their version at some point as well. That's definitely the way to, present, package, and deliver solutions to people, an all-in-one kind of, concentrated storefront and that. And I think that's kind of what VMware's kind of vision is for the solutions exchange, is for people looking for a solution for a VMware environment to be able to see all in one place all the vendor solutions that are available in that are that support VMware products, and kind of just browse through them all, compare them, and contact vendors, get more information, and make buying decisions off of that.
Mm. Yeah, I think most people, as they've got, well, I wouldn't say most people, terrible generalization there, but, whether you're an an Apple user, or whether, you've gone down one of the other routes out there, with Android or similar, you've got that concept of a marketplace out there now, and, I think people are very comfortable with it now. And can see the value of it. So it's definitely time for a lot of these other vendors and other spaces maybe to embrace that and start pushing stuff out. So it's good to see VMware do. I think they'll be quite successful with that marketplace they've created there. Yeah,
definitely. It's a good idea, good concept.
Yeah, I was in Best Buy the other day, and I asked if they had any Mac games for kids, and they said, we really don't sell any Mac software anymore. Just go to the Apple Mac store, on your Mac. And I was like, oh, okay.
And
it's interesting.
I've been doing the same thing. I've been browsing all the categories and that, trying to find things that are interesting in that, because you can see the ratings and everything else, and just install it at a click of a button. So it's, I agree. The traditional delivery model is kind of going away now. And they kind of have that for the PC a bit, like Steam and that, where you can deliver games directly to your PC and that. But I definitely like that model and that, and makes it a heck of a lot easier to find things that you may not even know exist, because traditionally, how are you finding the software and that? Maybe to happen to see it in a store or see an ad for it on a website. Now that's all in one place, you can see it all and browse through it, see what people, the ratings on it and stuff like that, and just, buy it at a click of a button.
I think a lot of people are there are much used to having that whole instant gratification thing. They're after something. They don't want to get in the car or, get on the bus and drive down somewhere, pick up a box, bring it back. Well, what is interesting, I was thinking about this the other day, was what I haven't seen for media in any way, and I don't know whether they've overlooked it or whether there is content out there and I just haven't seen it, is the green or environmental benefits that doing a lot of this stuff online has actually brought. For example, the Kindle. I mean, I heard the stat a while back. I don't know whether it's true or not, but basically Amazon sells more electronic books now, or makes more revenue via that mechanism than it does the actual physical paper books. So books, the publishers are probably, they're publishing less paperback type books or using less paper. Less trees are getting cut down.
Yeah.
They don't need the trucks to transport it from A to B, from their warehouse to the different bookshops and what have you. So I don't know whether anyone's done a study on, the benefits of doing this. And obviously we can apply this to computer software as well. People aren't, driving down to the local Apple store or local game shop probably as much as they were. So there's got to be some benefits in doing this. But I guess the other side of the coin is the argument is, they're all powered by energy or rather electricity or power, and that's got to be generated somehow. Yeah. So I don't know whether that's offsets. I don't know, but it's an interesting area. Quite like to read something a little bit more on that.
Plus, we're all becoming lazy now on that. You don't have to go out and get things anymore. You can just browse them and have them installed for you, and It's I'm totally that instant gratification guy. I hate waiting for something. I'd rather have it delivered. I'd rather go pick it up at a local store than order and wait 2-3 days to get something. So having the ability to get something right away is a big plus to me.
Yeah, it's funny. Even when I order something online now, if it's not here till the next day or the day after, you tend to start thinking something's up. That it's been lost in the post or the courier is not going to be turning up with it. So it's definitely I love the convenience of it. It is very good.
Yep. World is changing.
Yeah, it's the same thing with DVDs and games and everything. You just expect it to be immediate, just download it kind of thing.
Yeah.
David,
but you gotta have
David, how are you finding it with Train Signal? I mean, I was just thinking there actually. So, traditionally, I guess you always shipped out DVDs with your video content on there. I know you've got like the online offering now. How does that sort of stack up against sort of like the traditional type, DVDs that you would have sold? Has it crept up to that level now, or has it bypassed DVD sales, the online?
Yeah, right now when you buy a Train Signal course, you get immediate access, so you can watch it right then, and then you get the DVD in the mail, whenever the UPS, delivery man comes to your door. And on that DVD, then you have the offline files, so you can put them on your iPad or iPhone or whatever. But we do foresee at some point in the very near future, completely dropping DVDs and just going all online streaming, and perhaps going even to a software as a service type model where, it's just a subscription service. And, that's something we foresee in the future. Of course, there's also challenges. People still may want an offline viewer, if you're on an airplane or, you're traveling, you might want to watch it in the car. You don't have sufficient bandwidth. And, so we kind of have to take all those things into account. But yeah, that's I think really where the future is going. And we've seen that even, my wife all of a sudden wanted an Xbox because of the Kinect and the different, the dancing games and these different games you can play where you move.
Yeah.
For all of a sudden she wants an Xbox. She's never had interest in video games before, but I'm like, okay. So I started researching Xboxes, and they have, I don't know if you know, but they have a 250 gig model with a big hard drive. And then they have a 4 gig model. So it's like this vast difference between the 250 gig and 4 gig. The local storage is, completely different. And so I was trying to figure out, well, why would you want one versus the other? And the bigger hard drive is really for people who want to, download a bunch of games and movies and keep them on the hard drive.
Right.
So I'm still kind of trying to figure out, which one to buy. But,
go with it. It's not that, because I looked at both. I looked at the 4 and I looked at 250, and they had bundles that had the 250, the Kinect and all that for, I think it was like $3.99 or something. This was a while back. But I thought, I always regret later buying something smaller, and you can upgrade the 4 to the 250. You can buy the hard drive and put it in. But it's more expensive.
Yeah.
But I thought, for whatever, I forget how much it wasn't a huge amount. I said, I'm just going to go 250 and not have regrets later on that I bought too small and that, because everything is kind of downloadable these days and that. So I
would go with the. Yeah, I'd go with the large one. I've got one of the first Xboxes that ever came out. So you start it up. It's like a small jet engine. It's so damn noisy, but I've stuck with it. But that came with the one I've got. I think it's got like a 10 gig hard disk in there, and I'm always trying to delete stuff off of there because if you want something like Rock Band or you want to download extra songs or what have you, that soon consumes that 10 gigs pretty quickly. So if she's doing a lot of the dance type things and wants some of the music type games as well, you're probably better off with the large one, I reckon. But that said, it's interesting mentioning that. I actually signed up for Netflix. Netflix has finally arrived here in the UK.
Oh, right. I'm there.
So I've been down streaming content for the last couple of weeks. It's really good. They've got an offer on at the moment where it's like 1 month free, and after the first month, I think it's $5.99 or something, but they've got a good selection of content on there, and Eric, you'd be pleased to know they've got pretty much my series of Doctor Who on there, which is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the convenience of having all that content, and I'm able to view it anytime on my iPhone, my iPad, my Xbox, my Apple TV. To have that flexibility is brilliant, because so often you go on TV these days and there's nothing on, nothing worth watching. And it's great, I just crank up Netflix and start streaming it down. And it's nice because I've got a ton of boxes. I've probably got 200-300 DVDs, and to be honest with you, I'm trying to think what to do with them. They probably don't have any value these days. I don't want to throw them away, but if you can stream all your content, that's a much better solution, in my opinion.
That's what I do. The DVDs I had, I rip and I put them on my my PX, my iOmega. And then you could stream them. You have home media servers set up on your PC. Your Xbox can connect to that, and you can stream everything through that. So that works out pretty good.
Yeah,
Eric, when you stream
I'll probably end up doing that, actually.
When you stream your DVDs, what format do they need to be in? Because I've got a bunch of ripped DVDs in ISO format, but I don't think I can stream ISOs, huh?
Yeah, I rip everything down to AVI files.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
What I do is I first rip them so you get the DVD folders on your hard drive, that video TS, audio TS, and then I use a converter program to convert it to ADI. So. Okay.
Yeah, cool. I've got if you have a really good video converter for the Mac, I use, there's a product called, from iSkysoft, called Video Converter, and that's fantastic. It costs a few bucks, but it's definitely worth it. It converts pretty much to anything. So these vChats here, for example, natively they're not recorded in the correct format. So that's what I use to convert these over normally, and it's very, very quick as well. Great bit of software.
Okay, Simon. So for Christmas, I got myself a MacBook Pro and a Thunderbolt display, and I've been trying to convert and figure out all the best apps. So what Mac apps do you recommend besides that?
Yes, tell me too. I got this iMac here. I don't know what to put on it. Actually,
I'm probably a weird.
Scott Lowe has a post on his website that has the top Mac apps. So check that out because he's a big Mac user. But I don't know, Simon, what do you find?
Scott does some pretty cool stuff, actually. He uses the likes of, a lot of his sort of time management and what have you, the management of his emails and everything. He uses some pretty slick applications. And where there's any shortfalls there, I notice he does a lot of scripting as well to move this data around and what have you. So definitely jump onto Scott's blog post there and onto his blog rather, and check those out. Definitely worth a read. He does some pretty cool stuff. But top Apple apps for myself, I'm kind of a little bit strange. I'm probably not your average Mac user because I probably use Fusion on my Mac more than I do my native OS X applications. But there are a couple of good ones. Like I say, the iSkysoft video converter is really good. Obviously, I have the usual TweetDeck. The other bits and pieces. Let's have a look. I use eWallet. It's good. Now, eWallet, I don't know about you guys. I've got dozens of passwords. I'm trying to remember them all. After a while, it starts getting a bit crazy. So eWallet's very good. You can download it for your iPhone and your iPad. And the great thing with it, you can actually synchronize the passwords between all three devices. Obviously, it's all heavily encrypted and everything like that, and your devices need to be on the same network for that to happen. But that's a particularly good application for keeping track of your passwords. Other stuff, Evernote. Obviously, that's a Windows app as well as the usual suspects such as iPhone and iPad again. That's very good. OmniFocus is great for keeping track of your tasks and your to-do lists. That's particularly good. And from memory, I think that's one Scott put me onto actually. And that's very good. But the big thing is sort of getting the dedication or the self-control to actually use it. I've got it and I use it from time to time, but you've got to be pretty persistent with it to really get the value out of it. For me, and probably my all-time favorites, even on Windows and Mac, has got to be Snagit. I love Snagit for capturing, full screenshots, parts of screens, and what have you. I use it extensively day to day with my job, and also from the blog posts as well. So that's definitely my number one favorite application out there. So what about you guys? You got any recommendations around that? Or are you still looking?
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but I was even impressed with image capture. You know, on the Mac, you scan stuff with image capture, or you use image capture to pull in photos or videos from an iPhone. I thought this is a great, it's such a simple application, but on Windows, that stuff is, you know, you might use various applications to do the same thing. It's nice having one single application. But let's see. I've been trying Social Pro. It's like an application that you use that displays Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, Google Mail, and Google Talk, all in one application. So I've been trying that. It keeps all your accounts and everything, so you can just kind of tab between all these different social media things. For to-do lists, I've been trying to use, it's called rememberthemilk.com, and it's like a web app, but they also have an iPhone and iPad app. But it's the same kind, and it synchronizes between all of them. But it's the same kind of concept as to-do list. So.
Gotcha. Hey, one thing I've always found surprising with the Mac, right? So, the Apple traditionally, you've always sort of linked with, you know, creative types, right? With media, with, you know, real creative type people. But to this day, I've yet to find a blogging editor as good as Windows Live Writer. For a start, it's Microsoft, it's free, and it's Windows based. So all the things you kind of think that perhaps, you know, you wouldn't see in that respect. You know, I always thought that being more of a creative platform traditionally, that you would find some pretty, you know, pretty substantial, pretty decent blogging editors on OS X. They're definitely out there. There are some, but they definitely don't offer the same level of functionality or power that you get with LiveWriter. And especially considering it's a free product from Microsoft as well. It's always been surprised with that. And the other thing is as well, with Apple, with the amount of Apple products being sold now, if you go into an Apple store, I know we were saying before you can download a lot of them, a lot of stuff, but the amount of games out there compared to Windows is still pretty lean. And I would have thought by now, I don't know whether it's a difficult platform to develop on for game developers, but I kind of thought by now the amount of Macs and MacBooks and iMacs out there that there would be almost comparable number of games for Apple as there are Windows-based machines, but that doesn't seem to have happened.
Yeah, the Windows games are dropping off pretty big in that. Everybody's developing for like the consoles now and that. So I've always been a big real-time strategy game fan, and so games like StarCraft and Command & Conquer and that, they seem to be coming less and less now and that. Look forward to Diablo 3. That's one of my all-time favorite games. That's coming hopefully sometime soon, next few months or so. That's why I got this whole new PC built, was getting it ready for Diablo 3. So, but I've been finding a lot of games now with this new Mac store on the Apple. You see a lot of the games that are seems like they kind of were born for the iPad that have been ported over to the Mac now. So I'm seeing a lot more and more games now on the iMac, and even some surprising ones that have been ported over from Windows and that. So I think that's getting there, and that they're starting to catch up in that. And I think the iPad, you see more games coming sourced over from the iPad than from the Windows part. So yeah, hopefully, there'll be more stuff out there, more content, and I get the most use out of it as possible.
Yeah. Well, here's a blast from the past. I was unpacking into the office the other day and found my copy of Command & Conquer Generals. That's something I haven't played for.
I just played
goodness knows how many years.
Command & Conquer 3. I did the whole campaign over the last 2 weeks, and that was the next one I was going to move to, was Generals.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I had a little bit of time last weekend. I was going to install it, and I jumped on the forums just to see what the latest patch was. But it's interesting with that. Everyone's complaining that it won't run under Windows 7 too easily, even in compatibility mode. Even if you drop it down to a Windows XP type mode. So I don't know. I haven't bothered. I don't have time at the moment, but maybe sometime in the next couple of months I'll get around to installing it.
Yeah, I have Command & Conquer 4, and that was the most disappointing game I've ever seen. And that they totally changed the whole model of that game and how everything worked. And I don't even I started it, and I don't even think I played it more than a few hours. I just kind of gave up on it. So.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened these days. I used to, I don't know about you guys, I always used to have time to at least squeak in a little bit of gaming, you know, whether it be on the console. I've traditionally always been a PC gamer, but, yeah, I don't know, I just don't seem to have time these days. Maybe try a bit harder.
This VMware stuff sucks all the time out of you. I have no more time for fun anymore.
I got a PS3 for I got a PS3 for Christmas, and I've got a bunch of games, and they're all in the shrink wrap.
Yeah,
I haven't played them yet.
For the Xbox. Yep.
Yeah, I think we should maybe, you know, every 6 months. Every 6 months or so, we should maybe have a gaming day, dedicated gaming day or something, where we can play games guilt-free. So probably take 6 months of planning to work out what that day is going to be.
Yeah. No virtualization for a week.
So what else, guys? Closing words? Simon?
So partner big thing, obviously working with that, so that's going to be good. You get to see a lot of familiar faces, get to catch up with you guys as well. We're going to do the vChat over there, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of... No, that's pretty much me. I'm waiting for snow at the moment. It's supposed to snow here, supposedly today, or not today, in the next couple of days, so that's going to be interesting.
You come to Denver, and I got 2 feet waiting out there for me to shovel right after this. We're getting pounded today and tomorrow on that. Overnight, I think we'll be lucky. It had to be close to 14, 15 inches already, and it's supposed to snow all day today, so it's we got plenty here that you can have.
I tell you what, we'll be lucky to get 2 centimeters. I think even then it probably won't settle. So, but no, next time we talk, actually, I'll have my new internet connection in as well. So I'm looking forward to that. At the moment, I'm still piggybacking off the one I've got in the house there, which is pretty flaky. So I'm getting a dedicated link in. So I look forward to that.
Always good to have a good connection.
Oh yeah, especially these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I had to turn on the air conditioner here.
Oh, really?
So,
lucky you, man.
Got up to 75. Got a little hot in the office with the servers. Anyway, I'm just working on a upcoming vCloud Director training course.
Cool.
That's been really interesting to learn. So, we'll see how that turns out. But, I'm looking forward to Partner Exchange too. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, good deal.
Eric, I'll let you have the last word.
Look forward to seeing you all at PEX, and like I said, we got the top blog voting that we'll be announcing in that, and I'm sure everybody's looking forward to that. And great talking to you guys, and we're going to be doing this on a more frequent basis and that. So look for more vChats coming this year. Simon had put his foot down and said we're doing more of these, so we'll be doing them on a more regular schedule. So thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
It's been great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Great chance.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode of vChat, the latest in virtualization and cloud computing news and how-to. Eric, Simon, and David want your feedback, so send questions or ideas for future vChat topics to vchat@trainsignal.com.